Get ready to pay in .1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Well, good morning.
Great to be here, be back in the studio with you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Been a few weeks.
Where you been?
Well, I've been, riding the roads in North Carolina and
Right.
trying to round up a little bit of support for veterans housing.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. That's a
Yeah.
good mission to be on. So
Yeah.
glad to have you back.
Little jealous after last week's show.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, I tuned in and lo and behold, everybody's wearing matching shirts,
Oh,
all
yeah.
giggly and having
Yeah.
fun. It's
Having a
like
great time.
It's like a celebration that John wasn't on the show.
Yeah, we had 12 listeners instead of 3 last week, so that was awesome.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think it's starting to become very clear to me.
Lowest common denominator. So there you go. So, yeah, that's awesome. Hey, well, welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We're so glad that you've tuned in today. Purple Heart Homes, a 501c3 based right out of Statesville, North Carolina, but we do work all over the nation to help veterans solve their housing issues through safety and accessibility renovations, and we're very excited that you've tuned in today and are joining us, whether you're joining us live or you're listening to this later on Spotify or on YouTube or one of the other crazy interweb platforms that we have. And we're just glad you're here. And speaking of doing stuff all over the country, we got some great guests that are not in studio with us. They're joining us via the miracle of modern technology, via the Zoomage. And so we're really excited. And Devin is going to be taking the lead on this. Unfortunately, Devin has been on a phone conversation all morning.
Whoa.
Devin's taking the lead, but these are his people. These are your people. So you're on point with introducing and telling everybody who we got on the horn and what kind of good things they're doing. I don't know why you're looking shocked over there. It's not like you didn't just spend 5 days with them.
Seat for being in the lead, aren't I?
No, we put baby in the corner. So there you go.
You did. You put baby in the corner. I don't think the Facebook listeners. Oh, there I am. Look at my beautiful hat. Can y'all see my hat?
Yes, it is glorious. It's the same color as your car.
Yeah, it is the same color as my car. For the listeners out there that don't know, I drive a beautiful little green car. It looks exactly like Mike Wazowski from
yeah, it does. It does. Is that what you named that car? Is that the name
we
of
call
that
it Mike Wazowski. That's what my wife calls it, and she gets what she wants. So,
so tell us about that hat you're wearing. What is that?
So this is the Hodag. It is the official mascot of Rhinelander High School and of the town of Rhinelander. Is that right? Kidding. Rhinelander High School? Is that correct, Ben?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
It looks like something of a nightmare.
Is it a dragon?
Yeah.
Is
I was going to say,
what is that?
It's a Hodag.
Hodag.
I don't know.
That is an awesome hat. I really like that.
Yeah, I got that when I was up there in Rhinelander, and I might have seen a few. I don't know. I mean, I certainly saw a lot of other animals up there. There was like 30 deer that I thought they were trying to commit suicide or something. They were all over the road. I don't know what was going on.
A lot of deer in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
for sure.
there's turkeys and Kim here, she brought us a salamander. Speaking of which, let me introduce our guests. We have Ben Parsons, and Kim Braxis. Did I say your name right, Kim? The last name?
Oh, Brixus.
Brixis. Oh, yeah. See, I just put a Southern accent on it. That's all.
Right.
The Southern accent in a very loud voice.
Yeah, that's it. And did Art make it on yet? I don't know if he did, but we may shortly have Art Ports joining us, who's going to be the construction manager up there. So Ben Parsons contacted us not too long ago. Wanted to start a chapter up in Wisconsin, and why don't you introduce yourself, Ben?
All right. Hey, I'm Ben Parsons. Been in northern Wisconsin for 13 years now. So prior to this, was more of a southern boy. So if
Southern
people
where?
up here say I still have a southern accent, and when I go back home, everybody tells me I sound like a Yankee now. So I'm kind of stuck in between.
All right. Where in the South were you from?
I'm originally from West Virginia.
Okay.
Right between Charleston and Huntington, West Virginia, and went to Morgantown to get a 4-year degree in forestry. From there, went to Blacksburg, Virginia, and from there went down to South Georgia, Montezuma, Oglethorpe, Georgia, and then from there to Eagletown, Oklahoma, DeQueen and Jerix, Arkansas, back to Virginia in Covington, and then after that, up to northern Wisconsin.
Wow. Man, you've been all over.
You have moved around.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. You have absolutely moved around.
So yeah, he's not only been all around, but he's had a couple of interesting careers. But you're a lumberjack. What was that? What'd you do for the forestry service? Tell us a little about that.
Oh my gosh, a little bit of everything. I've been in small industry and large industry, buying timber for logging crews or mills, managing the contracts, the contractors, the loggers on company land. Did some firefighting, and probably the most interesting thing that I've ever done was, if you remember, when Columbia exploded over Texas, I was part of one of the crews that went down to help with the recovery of the Space Shuttle Columbia in Nacogdoches, Texas.
No kidding.
Wow.
Holy cow.
So you're one of those guys that can look at a forest and say, "Oh, there's 4 million board feet out there." Yeah, and just kind of judge how many 2x12s, 2x4s, 2x6s, and how much plywood you can get out of a forest. That's always,
yes, sir.
That's always been interesting to me. I'm like, man, somebody that can look at a tree and see a house. That's unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of plays into his current job, being a real estate agent there with Remax Property Pros up there in the Northwoods area. So he went from seeing what to do with the lumber to selling them as the finished product.
That's right. From beginning to end.
That's right. And he's got his partner here with him. Kim, say your last name for me. I ain't gonna say it right. Brixis.
Brixis.
I might get it right by the end of the show. You think?
Maybe.
No, I'm not very smart.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what I get called and I answer to.
Can we say those things on the radio?
So the one that comes up a lot is breakfast. Now tell me how you get breakfast.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's great to have you here, Kim.
Yeah. Where are you from,
Thank
Kim?
you. Kenosha County, which is southeastern part of Wisconsin on Lake Michigan, is Kenosha. It's kind of like the alley between Milwaukee and Chicago, if you will. But I was born and raised in the agricultural community out there, and then ended up moving up here 26 years ago.
It reminds me of Home Alone. I don't know if you remember the movie Home Alone, whenever Kevin's mother is stuck in the back of a truck with John Candy, and he was part of a polka band, and they were from Kenosha. They were called the Kenosha Kickers.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah,
I forgot
it's
all
outstanding.
about
It's
that.
my one thing I know about Kenosha, and now I know two things. So I know Kim, who Brixis, who makes breakfast. So that's fantastic.
Wow, yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Awesome. Kim, how did you get involved with this Purple Heart Homes chapter? What's your connection to the military and to veterans?
Oh, wow. Um, well, I very big military family is what I was born into as far back as I can remember, starting all the way back with my great aunt Edna, who was an army nurse in World War One, and I was blessed to know her quite young before she passed. But wow, she was quite the lady. She played a big part in my life, let me tell you, and all the way up the line. I mean, every family member on my dad's side has served in the military in one form or another, and we've heard quite a few stories. Some I'll tell you what. Um, that's how I respect those who serve so much, because I was directly. I mean, I wasn't like having to live on the bases and things like that. Although we did have a base in Winthrop Harbor, a naval base down there that was really close by. But my family, I was exposed to a lot of discussions and a lot of talk, and I know how many of those families suffered. And and I think I mentioned this to Devin during our last build. I said First Corinthians is a great chapter in the Bible, and there's a lot of wisdom in there. And when I was climbing around under a deck or whatever, getting something, and I said, it doesn't matter. We're all part of the same team. And that's what God tells us. We're all part of the same body, and we can't do without each other. And we support each other, and when one is honored, we honor, and we share in that joy. And so that being said, even though I personally did not serve, I support those who do, because we are one, and we couldn't do it without our military.
That's so
And
true.
so
Absolutely.
anything I can do to be that support, I'm there.
Wow, thank you, Kim. That is fantastic, and what a great way to say it too. Ben, how about yourself? What made you want to start a Purple Heart Homes chapter?
Well, so going back, I know there were probably other family members, beyond my remembrance that served, but my two grandfathers both served. On my mom's side, he was in World War II, and on my dad's side, he was in Korea. And I grew up on the farm with my dad's parents, so my paternal grandparents, and we lived on a farm. We raised beef cows and chickens and all kinds of stuff. And there was a lot of influence from his time in the Army in raising me. And, we could be out in the middle of the woods building fence back, and he would just start talking about, Uncle Sam would have you do this, or Uncle Sam that. And so, that threading into my upbringing, started from a young age through my grandfathers. And so all through school, public school, I was that guy. I'm going to enlist. That was my plan. I was going to enlist. And so senior year, we take the ASVABs, and then I get off the school bus and go hunting. And when I come back, my mom's sitting there holding the phone, and she's crying, and she says, "You never told me you were going to enlist." I'm like, "It's always been my plan." And she said, "Well, I told him you had asthma," which I did. I mean, I had childhood.
Oh, mom. Threw a monkey wrench into the plan.
So,
Killer of hopes and dreams.
yeah, she definitely put the kibosh to that. So I actually spent a year trying to figure out what I was going to do. I didn't go to college right away. I actually hopped around from job to job with a temp agency. So got a lot of different experience with different places there, but it took me a year to get up I don't know if courage or motivation or what, to say, all right, well, I wasn't the best student in high school, so I'm going to try to go to college. And I did. And actually, once I got to college, I did well. But so that was kind of my connection to service members, was just through family members, a lot of the older men at church, a few of my friends in school, all served. So,
Wow.
Well, let's
those folks are here.
let's put a pause on that. We got a break coming up. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes, and we're joined today by our friends from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, who've started a Purple Heart Homes chapter there to serve veterans in their community. And we'll be right back to talk with Ben and his friends and hear more about what they're doing up there.
On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WSIC News.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes, where we are here with our special guests from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, who they have just started a chapter of Purple Heart Homes to serve veterans in their community, and we're so thankful for them. And we've been hearing from Ben and Kim about some of their passion and why they've decided to start a chapter of Purple Heart Homes and their connection to the military. And we'll be getting back to them just here in a moment. But before we do, we want to hear from the soft-spoken, gentle giant Devil Dog Devin and hear about our project of the week.
You know, I don't think anything you said there was accurate. Soft-spoken, gentle, or a giant. I'm a angry, loud midget guy.
I was hoping to kind of influence some of your tone this morning.
Would you rather me talk like this, John? Is this a little better for you?
Well, you know, that was originally why we thought you'd be great for the show. You had a good radio voice.
Yeah,
incredible.
I could do this.
When the doors are shut and we can hear you outside the station,
This is true.
You don't need a radio.
They can hear me all the way up there in Rhinelander without the microphone.
There was a revivalist preacher named Charles Whitfield that would travel around the United States in the First Great Awakening. They called him Dr. Squintums because he had an eye that looked off the other way. But they said that his voice was so booming that he could speak to 10,000 people without amplification. So I'm thinking you got a Whitfield in your family name somewhere?
I think that's my great uncle.
Okay.
If I'm not incorrect,
Devin Squintums.
If not, I'm going to adopt him. But so hey, let's talk a little bit. The project of the week this week is the project we have done, just completed. And when I say we, I really mean the Northwoods, Wisconsin chapter of Purple Heart Homes, newly formed out there, thanks to Ben Parsons contacting us and wanting to do this. He brought to us the veteran, the funding, and the volunteers. He's doing a great job. Him and Kim, they're both out of an office, a Remax office up there, and the veteran Ken Voigt, is that how we say his last name? I'm real bad with last names. This fella, 24 years in the Air Force, right? As soon as he got out, the Boeing grabbed him up. Is it Boeing? Snatched him and had him building stealth bombers.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was working on flight line building stealth bombers for another 10, 15 years.
That's good.
Yeah, and he said he's not allowed to talk about a lot of the stuff he did on that, and but
I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. Well, you know, and he's got a good grip, so. But as it goes, you know, he's aging just like every other veteran. We all get older, and he can't get in and out of his house. 36 inches from ground to his deck, and that's during the summer-ish months that they have up there, the few of them, but 90% of the time it's covered in snow. So he really needed a wheelchair ramp, because trying to go down the steps in the snow and the ice, it's going to be covered, and if you don't have stable footing, that's
Sounds like you might need a track chair with a snowplow.
You know, is that an option, John? If you know where to get one of those, I'm sure Ken would enjoy that.
Yeah. So how did Ken become identified as a veteran there in Rhinelander?
Well, I think we need to talk to Ben about that. Ben, how did you come across Ken?
The Oneida County VSO gave me his name and said that he may need some assistance with that. And we reached out to him, and sure enough, got it all set up.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And are there a lot of veterans there in Rhinelander? Is there a significantly large population there?
There is, and of all the places I've lived, I would venture to say that the concentration of veterans in the Northwoods is probably higher than just about anywhere else. It's a popular place for service members to retire, and it's a very patriotic area to be. So we see a lot of folks enlist that grow up here as well.
Okay, so Ken's Air Force. Are there Army folks that are hanging out there in the Northwoods? I mean,
Army folks. you know, there are some Marines hanging out there. Speaking of which, we have Art Ports, who's gonna be the construction manager for this chapter. Art, you want to introduce yourself?
No, sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm Art Ports from Hazelhurst, Wisconsin.
Oh,
would you like me to do the bio?
Tell us a little about. Were you in any particular branch of the service? Out of curiosity.
Oh, yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years. Served with a unit called Anglico. So we worked for foreign nations, calling in artillery, naval gunfire, and air support.
If y'all don't know what
that
is,
that's time most of the time, but
yeah, that's smart recon.
Got it.
Devin, I'm not even going to go there this morning. Just not even going to go there.
Smart recon. That's what he was in.
Yeah.
That's about right? Is that right, Art?
Right, we're the educated ones.
No,
Yeah.
all 7 of the educated Marines.
Just Art squad and no one else.
Yeah, Art, man, thank you for your service, brother, and we're really glad to have you on the show today. Can you tell us how you got connected in with everybody? How do you know Ben and Kim, and how did all this come about for you?
I met Ben, 25, 30 years ago. He was related to a girlfriend I was dating at the time. And I ended up taking out fishing, and ever since we've been in contact and having a good time.
So did Ben reach out to you and say, "Hey, I found out about Purple Heart Homes and say I need some help, and this is the mission," and that was that was how you gravitated towards it?
Yeah. He contacted me. I own a construction company up here. It's a small one, but he contacted me, and I'm all for it because through another entity I'm in, which is Leatherneck to the North, Marine Corps League,
Hoorah.
we had previously built ramps and put up flagpoles and decks for veterans that needed help.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we're so thankful to get connected with you guys. Like-minded community members that are serving veterans. It's always great to work together. We love collaboration, and thankful for y'all stepping up to become a Purple Heart Homes chapter, and look forward to doing many, many more projects with you. Speaking of, do you have another project kind of already lined up or in mind? Do you have a veteran identified yet?
At this time, we don't, and we've talked to some other folks about potential projects, and those have fallen through. But essentially, I plan on speaking at the local VFW, American Legion meetings, and just helping to get the word out. We were lucky and landed this project right away through Jason Daly, our local VSO, and so I think as long as we get the word out, we're going to have more projects coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, the veteran service organizations like the VFW and American Legion are great places to go. And I think, John, when you and Dale first started this thing, that was kind of the first places that y'all went to try to find veterans in need. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Going out to the veteran service organizations, just meeting other veterans, we found that while the veteran that needs help most often is not going to be present,
yeah,
their buddy is going to be there, and they're going to know, hey, my buddy couldn't be here because they couldn't get out of their house because they need a wheelchair ramp, and they would love to be here at the VFW with me tonight, but he can't be there. If you guys could help and you could provide him a wheelchair ramp, I could get to hang out with my buddy, and he'd be able to have that camaraderie. And there's some therapy in that too, right? And so it's just a great way to find and identify vets.
Maybe for those listening and that are listening beyond, our county, where we're on News Talk WSIC, which quick plug for them, but For those that are maybe listening on Spotify or on YouTube or whatever, and maybe they're interested in what's the purpose behind our chapters, John, and kind of what's the genesis and the history of, why we branched out to do this.
Really, and thanks, Brad. It's such a great question and needed for this conversation. Really, it's about connecting the community with the veterans that we serve. Purple Heart Homes, I like to think of it, we're just the vessel that connects the two, and the opportunity to grow as an organization really exists through the volunteers, and that's how we're going to reach more veterans. And over the years, we realized that when we go help a veteran, let's say in Rhinelander, when Devin went up there, Devin come back home. And in the process, we wanted to make sure that Ken still had a connection to people in that community, and it's that chapter that he's now connected to. And it's through that chapter that he's going to be able to know that there's not only a support system, but there's people that believe in him, that he can have a relationship with, and that community as a whole then becomes a part of his family. Mm-hmm. And that's what we lack. We want to think about veterans committing suicide and blame it on the VA because the VA is not doing certain things. But I think the truth is that they lack relationships, mm-hmm. and they lack a support system. Mm-hmm. And the chapters provide those relationships and support systems in order that they can be connected to other charities, that they can be connected to other services, so that they're getting what they need. And that's what it's all about. It's about building a stronger and greater community, and we do that through our chapters.
Amen. Hey, Kim, what's going to be your role? What are you functioning as in the chapter as part of your, what's your leadership role there?
Well, thankfully, I really love Ben because he's taken on an awful lot, and I do thank you for that, Ben. He brought the idea here. He said, hey, he knows I'm a big veteran supporter, and with some of the things that I'm involved in, and we kind of decided to tackle this together, and he's really been the mainstay here. I've been more his support. It seems I like to be in a support role, and I do that well, but we're both in real estate. I've been doing it 26 years, and this is our busy season, so I really think we're going to be a little crazy because don't see us building ramps in the winter. So I think we're going to have to give Ben a little bit more support and take some off of his shoulders. And I was thinking about that when he was talking about going to these meetings. So I'll split that up with you, Ben, because Ben and Ann and his wife Ann and I are the ones who are on this, and we've actually recruited some others already. Another retired veteran that served in Desert Storm, and he's awesome. So we're getting the word out, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more support for us so we can do our business. And again, hats off to you, Ben, because I know you're burning it at both ends. And then you hunt the turkey on top of it. What the heck?
Kim, I think it's so interesting, just the thoughts that are sparked just hearing you talk there. I can think to all the different groups that I've went and met with, and just the value that I personally have gotten out of hearing the stories of some of these veterans. I know just this last week down at Richard's Coffee Shop, they had a 102-year-old World War II veteran come in the shop for the first time.
Holy smokes.
And so if you look at the pictures and you just see all the people that are sitting around him, listening to him tell stories, and just the value. I mean, it's a real life history and education that you're getting to receive. And so there's some real tangible benefit, when you have that opportunity and you have that purpose to be able to go out and meet and learn these stories at these different service organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're just really grateful to have you guys here. And so we have currently, how many chapters do we have, Devin?
I think we're right at 20.
Okay.
But we have some that fall in and out because running a chapter, it's something that takes a little bit of commitment, and you have to have not only the drive to do it, but the time to do it, and you
got to have a team to do it.
You have to have
right?
a team.
I mean, it would be impossible for Ben to do this all by himself without folks like Ann and Art to come alongside of him. And we had to, just let everybody know that everybody that runs our chapters, the leadership. They're all volunteers, right? They just do it out of the goodness of their heart, just because they want to give back and they respect the fact that people have served and that there's need out there. And so
They come from
we're
all
very
different disciplines and walks of life.
Absolutely.
I think you guys are our first chapter of made up predominantly of realtors.
That is true.
We have a lot of realtors that support, but when you guys contacted us and said, you were, as a group of realtors, you wanted to get involved, we were really excited because we recognize the connectivity to the community that realtors have, and so that's really fantastic. And we had a chapter come into our shop for a meeting with us yesterday, and they have been our longest standing chapter out of South Carolina and have completed over 100 projects to date.
Yes.
And so while you guys are just completing your first project, there's a lot to look forward to, and
Absolutely.
and I know they offered, one of the things they offered was to mentor some other chapters, and I know Larry and Dave and Michael would love to jump on a call with you guys and share some of their lessons learned and some of their stories to support.
They've got a lot of lessons learned. I mean, you think about over 100 projects, and they've raised a lot of money. They tell a great story. They're made up entirely of retired veterans.
And they've probably got a few lessons learned about how to deal with John.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. They're really, really good people. So, well, we're coming up on another break here, our last break of the show, to give some thanks to the folks that keep us on the air, and so we definitely want to make time for that. You are listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, and today we've got on the show our chapter from the Northwoods chapter in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, folks that are serving veterans through the mission of Purple Heart Homes up there. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. We're glad you're here. You can find out more about us at phhusa.org.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We are here with our guests from Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
Rhinelander.
And they I tell you, I love hearing Devin say that in the office when the mics aren't on.
Rhinelander.
It's very Germanic.
I'm not even saying it.
He was
Very
supposed
Germanic.
to make a TikTok video with all the chapter people saying Rhinelander and that
Was
crazy
I?
voice of his.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do that.
I don't know.
You said you were going to do that in the North Woods, and
Yeah, we put you on the
have
spot,
everybody
and then you
wearing
didn't do it.
hats with horns. And
Did I say that?
Yeah,
you
you did.
Oh my gosh! Well, I got up there and they must have gave me too much beer cheese and I forgot. I guess I don't know.
Beer cheese?
Oh yeah. Well, it's Wisconsin. You got to eat cheese and.
Yeah, but I didn't know you had beer cheese. I thought cheese was made out of milk.
was it fermented?
Oh,
was
yeah.
it fermented beer cheese?
I don't know how they milk the kegs, but
Does aged milk cheese have a higher potency?
I'm not too good on the science of things.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, I just
Maybe we can get a big collective Rhinelander.
oh, that would be wonderful.
Rhinelander.
Oh, there we go.
There we
There we go. Kim's got it right on point.
Oh.
So let's get back to our guest here, and just want to hear a little bit more about what you all are doing there in Wisconsin, and tell us a little bit about how large is Rhinelander? What's the difference in the North Woods and Rhinelander? What kind of area do y'all plan to take on, and what's your network of realtors look like, and how many people that might be getting involved?
I guess I can answer that. So our real estate group is right around 34, 35 agents and 2 brokers. We have 5 offices, and surprisingly, we don't have an office in Rhinelander. It's Tomahawk, Minocqua, and Boulder
Awesome
Junction, Eagle River, and 3 Lakes. And then the communities, it's different than most of the places that I'd been. I guess probably the place that I would equate it to is where I lived in South Georgia, where you had small towns of 5, 10, 15,000 people, and then you had a half an hour of nothing till you get to the next town of 5, 10, 15,000 people. And it's like that throughout the Northwoods. You have these little collective communities, and a whole lot of nothing in between. There's a lot of public land up here, a lot of old timber land up here, and it's really nice. When I moved here, it was like stepping back in time, several years. It's just, I hate heading south into the hustle and bustle. It's just it's quiet. Yes, winter is sometimes 6 months long, but you got people like Kim and Art. Art, gosh, I cannot thank this guy enough for everything that he did, inviting me to come speak at his Marine Corps League chapter meeting, and all those members there they welcomed me. We had great conversation, and those guys especially have been on board right from the very beginning. So, and that's the kind of people that we have up here. And they talk a little different, but they're definitely great people.
I know when I was at Fort McCoy, I went over to Walmart, which is about 11 miles from Fort McCoy, and I was walking through the store, and there's a gentleman working there, and he was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Well, I'm from North Carolina, but I was born in Wisconsin." I was actually born in Wisconsin.
Really?
I was born in West Dallas, right? And he was like, "Oh yeah." He said, "How long did you live there?" I said, "Like 6 months." I lost my accent.
Obviously, not long enough to
I
keep
lost
you
my
out there.
accent.
But you do a pretty good impersonation.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh hi, how are you?
I can't say most of the new words I learned up there.
That's right. It's a different language. Hey, Devin, you were going to tell us about you took somebody from our team up there with you that probably was the reason it was a success from our end.
Well, Devin did all the talking. She did all the work.
That's kind of how that went. So yeah, we took our ramp builder Val up there with us.
Yeah, man, she's amazing.
She is, and I will tell you, we had all the volunteers out there, and we had Val and Art, and so between Val and Art, I think they did about 80% of the work, and the volunteers did the other 20, and I did like a half.
All I heard from Val was that she just kept pointing you over to the corner and saying, "Go dig another hole over there."
Oh, did she tell you about that?
She just dig a hole.
But she told me up front that she was going to keep you busy digging holes.
Art, how many holes did I have to dig? What was that?
I think it was about 17.
Well, I'm sure the smart Marine figured out that was just to keep you busy and away from the skill saw.
And how many holes did we actually need, Art?
4.
No, I think we needed 9.
I think it's 9. Yeah.
Devin, go around back of the house. There's 7 holes that need to be dug around back.
Yeah, we needed 9 holes, and I'll tell you what. If she asks me to dig another hole, that's exactly what I'm going to say is 9. But I really did want to thank her, and Art was the one who wanted to make sure that she got the credit for making sure that that ramp build got done.
We are really lucky to have Val. I mean, she's an amazing. She's a craftsman, and craftswoman. But she's been on with us for about 6 months now.
Yeah,
maybe a little longer.
Yeah, maybe a little longer than that. And she built cabinets. I mean, that's what she did. That was her job, and she is really a talented and gifted craftsperson, if you will.
You know, it was really interesting in the interview process. They're like, do you know how to read a tape measure? And she's like, oh, yeah. And, do you know how to use a skill saw? And she's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, well, come back here and let's go look at some of our product. And she starts pointing out things like, that could be better, and that tolerance is wrong. And it was like, okay. Well, let's look at who you're replacing, not what hole you're filling.
That's exactly right. And then when she came in, she went back and looked at the back part of our shop, and she's like, well, I need to do this. And then she rearranged everything and built stuff.
Oh, orderly. You know, and I've said this for years. Women are, by and large, some of the best contractors and builders that you can find.
I was getting ready to say, careful, John.
Just
their
the
attention to
all the way around.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're all right. Everything they do is best. Right?
There you go.
Absolutely.
Organized, meticulous, particular.
Yep.
Precise
and always right.
And always right.
And always right, man.
And I'm always wrong in that case.
100% of the time.
Corianne is always right.
So let's yes, Corianne is always right. That's correct. She keeps me in line.
I think Ben was wanting to tell you about a little thing that might have happened or might not. So this is highly suspect. I don't think the story is exactly.
Go ahead, Ben. That's enough out of you. Yeah, Ben, go ahead and tell us what something Devin did. Because I think that's coming.
Well, you guys know how much material this takes. I mean, wheelchair ramps are no small thing, and there's quite a stack of materials that we had to pick up. So, day one, I'm at Home Depot loading up the trailer, and Devin and Val are in the van, and Devin has to go take care of something, right? So Val is riding with me in the Sequoia, my Sequoia with the trailer behind, all loaded down with materials. We get to the job site, and I get a text from Devin, hey, I'll be there shortly. You guys need anything from the gas station? We're like, nope, we're good. All right, I'll be there to help you unload the trailer shortly. So I start unloading the trailer, and Val starts planning and cutting and doing stuff. I mean, she's being productive, and I'm being supported by unloading everything on the trailer.
There was some implication there.
And so the Voight's driveway kind of goes up a hill, and it's brushed in on 2 sides. So you can see a car go by in this little window, and I've got boards up on my shoulder, and I see a silver rental van go by, and I'm like, oh, Devin missed the driveway. yeah, he'll realize and turn around. So I'd go and unload a few more boards. Van goes the other way. Oh, Devin missed the driveway again. And it seemed like every time I went back for an armload of boards, there's a silver van driving by. And I'm like, you know what? There's like 5 houses on this road. Not everybody's got a silver van. And wouldn't you know it, the trailer gets unloaded, lumber's all stacked, I'm soaking wet, and asking Val, what can I do next? And lo and behold, here comes Devin pulling down the driveway. Oh, I forgot to get y'all's drink at this gas station.
He was trying to find another hole to dig. That's what it was.
I think what the truth is, he was trying to avoid digging.
It sounds like it to me. Sounds like it to me. Yeah.
So,
I'll just drive around while all the work's getting done.
So we just got a few minutes left, and I would love to continue laughing and picking on laughing about Devin and picking on Devin. But there's some important work that we need to cover here. So for community members and other organizations interested in getting involved with Purple Heart Homes in Wisconsin, what opportunities are available for them to contribute and to volunteer? How would you like folks to get involved?
Kim, you wanna take that one?
Well, I can tell you every year I do a veterans dinner. This will be my 8th annual. It all erupted because one Veterans Weekend, there was nothing going on, and I'm a VFW on the auxiliary. So we did a dinner. Well, one of the things, all the community really up here is supportive of our veterans. And so they do donations, they come help cook, the veterans come, etc. And you'd be surprised the word that gets out on that. So what we're really trying to do is get the word out. And like John had said, you go to those places, those are the people, their battle buddies are the ones, they're telling them, hey, this guy needs it. And this year, we're also doing the float with Remax. We have the basket with the flames that come out. It's really awesome. Everybody loves it. But we're going to fix up Ben's Sequoia with the trailer, and we're going to have the Purple Heart Homes banner on there. And we do a radio show here. Ben and I do most of it in the mornings, and we're really plugging Purple Heart Homes, and the word is getting out. And I think the more we get that word out visually, audio, radio, whatever, I think it's going to be more known. And that's really what we want to do. We want to get the word out because there's so many veterans up here because it's quiet. It's spread apart. That's what they want. They just want peace and quiet. And like I said, if we're there to support them, that's what we want. So that's our goal, immediate goal, to get more word out on the organization that we're here.
That's a great goal, and certainly what's necessary. You got to let folks know about the resource, and then let folks know how they can get involved and support. And sir, is there a message that you all would like to share about the importance of supporting veterans and their families based on your personal experiences? Anything that stands out for
you? I think I was that guy that wanted to serve, wanted to enlist, and wasn't able to. And then I see people who did, and they come back, and what I see as kind of an outsider, as a civilian, is that there's 2 sides to that service. One is there are friendships that are built, there are connections that are built, there's a camaraderie that's there that can never be replaced, that is unmatched by anything else. And on the other side of that coin is, for a lot of our veterans is, they experience a lot of things that they really, I don't want to say they didn't bargain for, because I know that everyone knows that there's the chance of being injured, wounded, killed in service. And just, I'm humbled by the number of people who go into those situations knowing that they may not come home. And then if they do, there's a lot to deal with. And I asked another Purple Heart recipient here in town. I'm like, hey, there's a guy I need to talk to. He's a Purple Heart recipient, suffers from PTSD. We want to help him out, but I don't know how to relate. Can you go with me and talk to him and see if we can't, get him some help? I mean, the guy was, his well, quit, and he's basically living with no water, carrying water from the creek to take a bath and things like that. And so,
can we?
A lot of guys are just too proud to ask for help. So we want to make sure that, we're available and discreet enough to where, guys feel comfortable asking for help and getting this stuff done.
Yeah, well, we would definitely love for that gentleman to put an application in to see if we couldn't offer some assistance in getting a new well dug for him, because that's a safety concern when you don't have water. That's a health and safety concern for sure. Absolutely. And it is, and that's a great point you make, Ben. And we didn't really, come to the end of the show, but today's PTSD Awareness Day, and so just want to make all our listeners aware of that, and to think about and what Ben said. When people go into service, they come back. Sometimes the challenges are very tall to overcome, and so we want to be aware of the struggles that people face when they've been through traumatic events. And so but we're really grateful to have you guys on the show. We got just a few seconds left here, and
let me say too, grateful for you again stepping up to the plate to support the veterans in your community and to lead the charge, set the example, and inspire others to get involved. Without you, we would not be successful. This is a fight bigger than any one or any team can win on their own. We need everybody across the nation.
Yeah, and we're going to send Devin back up there permanently, and we're going to pack all his stuff up. He's going to come up and hang out in Rhinelander with you guys.
Did you hear that? She almost sounded excited.
Almost.
That was art. He was excited.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for being with us this week. We're really grateful. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders. Join us again next Tuesday at 8 a.m. and Saturday at 5 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on News Talk WSIC. News Talk WSIC, Statesville, Lake Norman, North Charlotte.
Okay. Hey, thank you all so much. What a great show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.